Rock Nation Incorporated, yeah. Rock Nation Incorporated, yeah. Rock Nation Incorporated, yeah. Oh, Rock Nation.
Welcome to the craziest show this side of Mars. This is Rock Nation Incorporated. Here's your host with the most, Keith Shannon.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rock Nation Incorporated, episode number 3. Today on the show, we have none other than Mr. Stacey Blades. But first, here's his bio. Stacey Blades, born Brian Stacey on November 4th, 1968, is a guitarist from Calgary, Alberta, who has played with such bands as Frady Cat, Roxx Gang, Mojo Gurus, Super Cool, Smack, LA Guns, and 100 Proof. He has played on the LA Guns studio albums, Rips the Covers Off, Tales from the Strip, Covered in Guns, and Hollywood Forever. The LA Guns live album, Loud and Dangerous, Live from Hollywood. He reportedly sang lead vocals on the song Nothing Better to Do when the band performed it live. He authored a book, Confessions of a Replacement Rock Star, in 2009. At the end of 2012, Stacey decided to leave LA Guns to pursue more personal opportunities for performing and songwriting. He is currently working with Sony Music, designing and writing guitar loop packages. Stacey was also the last artist to work with legendary producer Andy Johns before his untimely death in April 2013. Without further ado, please welcome to the show, the one, the only, Mr. Stacey Blades. Yeah, baby, what's going on?
I should hire you to intro the band. That was awesome.
I would love to. I'm sick of all these boring freaking interview guys. So why don't you tell Rock Nation Incorporated a little bit about yourself, what's going on in your life today, really your chance to plug anything you like, my friend.
Sure. I just got back, actually. This was kind of cool. I filled in for one of the guitar players in Black and Blue, and we played a big festival over in Nottingham, England, called Firefest, which was actually the last one they did. So it was awesome. Sold out at Rock City. And as growing up on that band in the mid 80s, it was just really, really cool to get up there and play all those old tunes.
Yeah,
and
man,
it was
for
awesome.
sure.
And of course, Jamie St. James is the singer in my new band, Let It Rock. So yeah, it was crazy. There's no rehearsal, so I was just performing the set in my living room every day. So it paid off because I really nailed it with the band. So it was a crazy fun weekend. Just one show, flew all the way over there and played the show, night off, played the show, and then came all the way back to LA and got on another plane the next day and flew home to Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Stacey, do you swear to tell Rock Nation Incorporated the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Hell no.
I always like to start off every show with a little thing called How the Hell Did You Get Where You Are, where you tell my audience in 5 minutes or less the steps on how you became an expert in your particular field of interest. And yours, my friend, is rock and freaking roll. Stacey, let's walk the walk and talk the talk.
Well, let's see. It started in Canada for about 23 years there. And then went from Toronto to Florida. Did 8 years in Florida with Roxx Gang.
Yeah, baby.
And then from there to L.A. I lived in L.A. for about 14 years. 10 of those spent with L.A. Guns. And last year I moved to Vegas and have a new band called Let It Rock with Jamie St. James from Black and Blue, Sean McNabb from Dokken, Jeff Duncan from Armored Saint, and Jimmy Deanda from Bullet Boys, and myself on guitar as well.
Awesome, man. Well, here at Rock Nation Incorporated, we believe that success leaves clues, to quote Anthony Robbins, and what I try to share with my audience is the common thread, the rituals, the patterns, and the excellence that make success possible. Stacey, let's dive right into how you achieved all your success. Let's talk about passion. Stacey, tell me what you love about what you do.
There's a lot of people, don't see how much work that goes into everything of what we do.
What do you mean? You just don't get up on stage and you're a freaking rock star? Come on now.
Just for example, that England show is like, had to drive from Vegas to L.A., spend the night in L.A., then next day fly to London, which was an 11-hour flight, and then drive 4 hours to Nottingham from there.
Wow.
Completely upside down with jet lag. Next day, play an hour and 20-minute show. But you know what? It makes it, all worthwhile. Everything that goes into that hour and 20 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever hour, it's all worth it. As tough it is sometimes, to get to do what, we do. Is a privilege, and I never take it for granted, no matter if I'm, burned out or sick or my leg hurts or whatever. It's just like, you're blessed to be up on that stage, and when people are, rocking out with you or singing your songs or just screaming for you, it's just, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It's a hard thing to give up, too.
It is, and I took last year off, and which I kind of needed to. I was really burned out physically and mentally. But, you need a little bit of time off to get fresh, too. You do, but it was a double-edged sword because then it's like, with too much time off, and then it kind of throws you into almost a depression, whereas you kind of got to restart your career. And that takes time. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's funny to watch, when you've been doing it, for guys who've been doing it as long as we have, it's like an EKG, there's so many ups and downs, and it's just part of your career. There's a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and a lot of in-betweens. So it's part of the gig, so.
I love it, man. I love it. Stacey, let's talk about music. Can you tell the Rock Nation Army what you love about music so much?
What was, it's funny because it's like the older we get, we long for yesterday. And I don't know if you call it
damn straight.
Call it a midlife crisis or whatever. I think we've lost what we used to cherish so much. I mean,
I've been talking about this a lot, man. The music scene has changed. Music has changed in general. It's not like it was fun when we were growing up, man.
Yeah. It's just like,
I wanted to be a rock star so effing bad in like 1985,
Yeah. It's like we didn't, when we were kids, it was like, your older brothers and sisters and their friends, they all had records and turned you on to all these cool bands. And it was just, it was an awareness. And radio was killer, and you discovered all these new bands, and even pop music back then was in the late 70s and mid 80s, and straight ahead rock was great.
Yeah, man.
And none of that exists anymore. It's just this crappy, disposable,
really horrible.
Pop music, and now this EDM stuff's taken over, and it's just like, what happened?
I've been bitching about it a lot lately. Like, you and I are, like, born in the same – my birthday's this month as well. So
nice.
Yeah, so I'm a Scorpio. I'm on November 17th. So you and I become I'll be 45 in, like, 2 weeks.
You're behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, same age, more or less.
Yeah, by, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah. So we had the pleasure of, growing up in the 70s as kids and all that great music, and then into the early 80s and throughout the 80s.
We had MTV and much music. I mean,
best of everything we got, and unfortunately there's still a fan base out for our kind of music, thank God. But it's like, we lost so much along the way. There really isn't a music industry anymore, and it's just kind of the age we live in. And it sucks, unfortunately.
It does suck. Stacey, would you be so kind to close your eyes and remember the moment you wanted to be a rock star? Can you tell Rock Nation Incorporated that emotion, that feeling?
I think it was, as a kid, just standing in front of the mirror with, and just,
with a
projecting
with a comb in your hand or a broom.
I used to have this, I remember there was this kid in grade 5 I used to hang out with, and he just had the coolest room, man. He had a 6-foot Kiss posters
Nice.
and the coolest toy models, and he had all this ambient lighting. And I remember the first time I walked into his room, I was just blown away. I was like, whoa, you know. And he put Kiss Alive 2 on, and
Nice.
that was definitely a moment, you know. But music was always in my life because I started playing piano when I was 9, and
Wow.
my family was a long line of piano players, so
Nice.
it was kind of always like, you know, I was dumped into it.
Right.
But, you know, really became obsessed as like when I was 15. I started playing guitar when I was 11. I got my first electric guitar, I think it was 14. And then I became obsessed, you know, and it was my parents were like, oh, God, what have we done, you know? They're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, no, I got mine in '84. My mom bought me my first guitar, so I was like a Randy Rhoads freak, and
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it was just I kind of, you know, not so much stumbled into it, but it was kind of just inbred into me, so to speak, and, you know, looking back, I wish I hadn't stopped playing piano, but when you're a kid that young, you don't really appreciate it 100% because it's like you're going after school, oh, man, I got my piano lesson this week, and it's like, oh, crap, I got to do recital this weekend. And but once I started playing guitar, there was that immediate connection.
That's awesome.
That was, you know, it was cool too because the place I took lessons was a guitar store. And I remember when I first went in there, one of the teachers, this guy John, he had long blonde hair, and he was just ripping on this like Stratocaster. And I was just like, that's the you know, raddest thing in the world. It's like, that's me. I don't care what it's going to take, but that I want that. It was just the frequency and everything of it. And of course, growing up listening to all Zeppelin and Aerosmith and Ozzy and all of that great stuff, it was just, I mean, looking back, it's so blessed to have been.
Myself as well, man. I mean,
grow up with all that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with Kelly Garney last night, and he was telling me stories about pre-Wasp sister stuff on the Strip last night. You know, Blackie used to reach into like a can of worms and pull them out, live worms, and eat them live on stage at the Starwood and make the whole front audience puke all over themselves.
Yeah, that doesn't really exist anymore.
No, you know, it was crazy, and people were doing, like, I don't know, man. It was a great time. It was a great time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I lived in Hollywood in 91, 92. Talk to me about the Sunset Strip. Where did you play back in the day? Who did you know? What was the name of your band?
Okay, well, before I moved to Florida to join Roxx Gang in 92, I was in Toronto. And
you moved from Calgary to Toronto?
Yes, yeah. Now, I did go out to L.A. in 89 and experienced that for a couple of weeks, and that was really cool, and I was like, man, this is just an amazing, but Toronto was really...
Toronto had a good scene, man.
Had a great scene, you know. It was almost as good as L.A. I mean, there was like a lot of really cool bands, and there was a lot of great places to play.
A bunch of my buddies, like Svengali and Slick Toxic.
All that stuff,
Sebastian Bach's from there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all that stuff, you know, it was a great couple of years from like 89 to 90, 91.
Yeah.
Really, really cool stuff. The last band I was in Toronto was a band called Frady Cat. So, ironically, there's a label out of Nashville called F&A Records that just released our old material onto CD. So that was kind of cool. 24 years later, you know.
No kidding.
So I was glad it didn't go to waste because the band was really, really good. But, you know, looking back, as great as the scene was in Canada, the Canadian music industry was not so great.
You couldn't get a good record deal. You got a Canadian deal, and you basically and everyone got screwed.
You know, and they didn't sign any cool, like they never would have signed a band like Guns N' Roses or LA Guns or anything, you know, remotely like that. So that was frustrating.
Hey, I moved out of Toronto. I'm in Toronto. I moved out of Toronto to LA because they knew that if you're going to get signed, you know, I'm going to Hollywood, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up going to Florida. Well, you know, Roxx Gang, I was a big fan of that band. And
did they call you, and that's how you ended up going down to Florida?
It was interesting. They had an ad in Metal Edge, and of course I was well aware the band had their album. And
yeah, man, I love Roxx Gang.
Yeah, it was a great first album, and I was like, that's a gig I'd so fit. And Frady Cat was just about to break up, and you know, I contacted them immediately and sent them, you know, press kit and all that stuff. And they called me right away and said, Dad, the band really, really likes you, your look and your playing. And I flew down and nailed the audition. And, you know,
kidding.
3 weeks later I was living in South Florida, you know. Yeah.
Like that, I love Roxx Gang. You know what? Should have been more of it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
So, okay, get into that a little bit. Let's talk about Roxx Gang.
Yeah, that, so, you know, that was quite an adjustment going from the big city of Toronto to Clearwater, Florida. It was quite a culture shock.
Yeah, it's a little, you know, you would think LA, but that's right. Roxx Gang's Florida-based, especially Clearwater.
Yes. Yeah. So it was like, you know.
That's not Hollywood. That's not Sunset Strip, Clearwater.
Far from it, man. It's the South, dude. And let me tell you, it's like, you know, the fucking.
Stacey's like, I'm going to be
a
a fucking rock star, and he ends up in Clearwater.
So I was like, oh shit, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
What the fuck?
You know, it's like the only other guys that look like me were the guys that were in the band, you know, so to speak. But
that's cool. Well, Manson was from Florida too.
Yeah, there was a handful of bands from Florida, Saigon Kick and Sabotage, and not a whole lot, but their roots were based there. And you know, the first couple of years were really cool. We started gigging, and it was nice to be in a total pro outfit, and of course, a band that had a good fan base, and
still a couple good years of hair metal going on there too.
Somewhat, yeah. And then, you know, we had a record deal in the works with Atlantic, and then, you know, the whole grunge thing just kind of kept gaining momentum. And then by 93, 94, it was just like, well, I guess we're not getting that record deal. But
we're getting told not to play this music anymore.
Yes, yeah. And then that was a kind of 95, 96. You know, we'd recorded all this material to prep for a new album, and then we ended up releasing a record in 95 on Paris Records. And but, you know, that was a terrible time for music.
It really was. It really was. No one knew what to do. None of us knew where to go, man.
What do we do? Do we reinvent ourselves? Do we stay the same? But it was tough.
God, I went goth. I started going heavy because I was like, I'm not fucking going grunge, man.
Right. You know, and that came and went too. Yeah.
True. It was quick. 3 years, maybe?
Yeah. And so, you know, by 97, 98, I was just kind of losing interest in the band. It was going in this weird blues direction, and
right.
I just wasn't into it. And, you know, my sister was actually living in LA, and I started going out to LA every year in 97. And, I was like, man, I got to move out here, you know. And it was kind of really starting to happen around 99, 2000. There was a really cool kind of punk glam thing going on out there. And yeah, I left Roxx Gang in 2000, and then I you know, moved. I got married, and I moved out to LA, and I was in a band actually with Eric Stacey from Faster Pussycat and Vic Fox.
Nice.
Called Super Cool. And we gigged around town a little bit, and we actually went to Japan and did 5 shows over in Japan.
Nice.
But pretty dysfunctional band. Was didn't stay together too long, you know. Less than a year, I think it was. And so then, anyways, in 2003, I got a call from Melly Guns, and you know, needless to say, rest is history. And spent 10 years in that band with 4 albums and. A lot of world tours, and yeah, just awesome experience.
It's awesome.
Awesome
so you basically replaced Tracy Gunn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know?
they had
Can you imagine?
a couple of guys float.
Can you fucking imagine you're replacing Tracy Guns? I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was. I think it was right place, right time. You know, and it was amazing. You know, just going right into the band and recording a record with Andy Johns, and then going over to you know, Europe, and we did a big world tour that year. And it was amazing. It was just like, wow, this is just like everything I've been working for.
That's a cool fit for you, too. I mean, you look good in LA Guns. I mean, it's a perfect fit. So who was in there? Phil Lewis, Steve Riley.
Adam Hamilton was bass player at the time. Adam left in 2006, and I got Scotty Griffin. And then I ended up leaving the band in at the end of 2012. It was just too many personal differences and business differences, and I was unhappy.
It's a band.
Yeah. No, it's everybody gets along in a band.
Yeah.
And I felt for me that it was the right thing to do at the time.
Well, you're in for 10 years, right?
Yeah, and it was like, I didn't understand why this was happening. It was just like, well, aren't we all going towards the same goal? And, ironically, Scotty Griffin just got let go of LA Guns, and it was kind of the same thing that was going on, except I quit before.
So who's it back to? It's Steve Riley and Phil?
Phil and Kenny Queens rejoined the band. Kenny did a small stint in the band in 2010, so... but yeah, it was a great time until the end. But a lot of great memories, a lot of great experiences, and all those great albums I did with Andy Johns, and it was all good.
The great thing about being in a great band is when you fucking hate the people that you're playing with, all of a sudden you get out of that band and that hate starts to go away. A couple 6 months, a year, all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I loved being in that band. So, I think there's a couple of musicians out there that could probably relate with something like that.
Yeah, it's weird because I haven't spoken to Phil or Steve hardly at all, and I'm not going to air my dirty laundry.
No. And you know what?
Yeah.
And every band has the worst fucking dirty laundry, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's 4 or 5 people trying to get along all the time, and it's like, and years go by, and some years are really good, and some years are fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Some shows are really, really amazing, and you're like, why the fuck don't we sound that good anymore?
Right.
Whatever. We all know what that's
yes,
about.
Exactly.
Let's talk about your project, Let It Rock.
Yeah.
Tell the audience, tell Rock Nation Incorporated all about this wonderful thing, man.
Sure. I last year I had this idea. I'm like, how can I combine a Sunset Strip stylized show where like you can almost see like 5 bands in one band,
right?
With kind of video production and so I started kind of running with the ball with this idea, and it just kind of really started taking shape. And I debuted it in Vegas last January, and it's really going over really well. We've done about 12 to 14 shows this year, and the band is just amazing. Like the musicianship in this band, and I love playing with these guys, and no egos, and everybody's just always in a great mood and laughing, and we have a great time together, and
nice.
We love traveling together, and it's really cool, and we've written some original material, and so these kind of type of things are starting to happen with the older everybody's getting, and it's kind of almost like it's like kind of the new thing to do is this kind of like these all-star bands, so to speak.
I think it's super cool, man. I love it.
You could see more of this happening in the future, Definitely.
Well, no one else is doing what we kind of grew up knowing how to do. Like nobody knows how to move on stage.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do with this. I wanted it to be a little bit Vegas-y and
hell yeah.
So I've got that going, and I'm also starting a thing with Ron Keel, an acoustic duo called Keel
awesome.
Blades. That'll start. We'll probably start gigging in January. With that, also too, I'm talking with Scotty Griffin about starting a band as well. So I'm going to be very busy in the next, once 2015. yeah, so I've been kind of busy doing that. And like I said, it was really cool to play with Black and Blue, and I'd love to play with them again in the future. It was amazing and great guys.
It sounds like you're having a blast.
Yeah, it's Vegas is kind of like the new LA. A lot of the guys
everybody seems to be like my buddy Darren James Smith. He's in Jakey Lee's band, Red Dragon.
Oh, okay.
Red Dragon Cartel.
Yes.
I think he flew down to Vegas today. So because
right.
they're starting, they're starting rehearsals and they're off. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah. So and I'm like Vegas, like and my buddy on Loaded Radio there, he's from Toronto.
Oh yeah, Johnny, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah. So it's like Vegas, and then Vince is there, and so Vegas.
Yeah, a lot of people. Jerry Dixon from Warrant lives here. Oz Fox from Stryper, Ron Keel, Jizzy Pearl. Yeah. A lot of guys. Alex Grossi, he's here too. So.
Everybody's leaving LA and coming to Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I've just been busy, and also too, I have a music production thing that I do, a music library with my partner Jason Donnelly in LA, and Jerry Dixon and Eric Turner actually have a music production placement company. So we've been doing a lot of work with them, and actually have gotten some little Q songs, about like a little minute pieces on Duck Dynasty,
nice,
Wahlburgers,
no kidding,
Shark Week, So there's a lot of different avenues you gotta really spread out. One thing I learned over the last after being in LA Guns for 10 years, that's all I did. That's all I had time for.
Right.
So when you make a big career move like that, and you've got to really put your hands in a lot of different things.
That's why I do the podcast, baby.
Yeah.
You got to spread out. You know what?
You do.
You got to do a couple different things. I mean, the music business has definitely changed. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
You're not selling records these days, really making any money. So
exactly. Yeah.
So you got to change it up, just like it's all disrupted. Just like grunge disrupted our, 92 scene and stuff like that, the internet has disrupted the music business as well. And you've got to reinvent yourself and find a way to supplement. You want to rock, but a lot of times when you rock these days, you rock for free. You write albums and you give them away.
Yeah, it almost is like that. Last LA Guns record, Hollywood Forever, sold 10,000 copies.
And that's huge in these days.
That's pretty big, for 2012. That's good. But
should get it.
It's tough,
They should change the gold and platinum albums now to like 5,000 and 10,000.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Be like, we got a fucking platinum album, baby.
Paying socks of pennies.
Yeah. Stacey, can you tell us a little bit about your book, Snake Eyes: Confession of a Replacement Rock Star? I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Yeah,
that came together around. It's on Amazon. It's been out for quite a while. So
2009.
Yes, it came out. I started writing in 2007. I got released end of 2008, beginning of 2009. So it's crazy to think. Oh, geez, that's 5 years ago. A lot's happened in then.
Goes fast when you're old, my friend.
So it's weird for me when somebody says, "Oh, I just got your book,"
right?
Because it's like, well, it's 5 years ago. It talks about my whole life, but lots happened in that 5 years. So it's kind of funny when I think back of all the crazy stuff that's really happened in the last 5 years. So you never know if I might put out a second edition of stuff. But
that sounds awesome.
The book is available on Amazon. Got really good reviews. And looking back, I would like for it to be republished because, you learn a lot by, releasing a book and studying the format and stuff like that.
Sure.
And it's, I kind of look at that first version as that demo, so to speak. But, people seem to enjoy it. But, it was a cool experience and, shared some stories about my life and, reviews were great. So, it's all good now.
So, everybody should buy Stacey's book because you know what? Like he said, he's not making any money on CDs.
That's
so
right.
Let's sell some books, God damn it.
That's right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And now we enter the speed round. The speed round, there is no right or wrong answer, just your personal preference. Stacey, here we go. Analog or digital recording?
Analog.
Records, tapes, CDs, or iTunes?
Records.
Record companies or self-publishing?
Plead the fifth on that one.
Before the gig or after the gig?
After the gig.
Stacey, where are you more comfortable, in the studio or on stage?
On stage.
Stacey, what's your favorite swear word?
Shit.
Stacey, today or tomorrow?
Today.
Before we say goodbye, there are a few more questions I know the audience is dying to know. Stacey, what's your preference, dogs or cats?
I'm a cat person.
Beer or wine?
Beer.
The Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Stones.
Yeah, baby. Awesome interview. Thank you so much for your transparency and your insight into your thoughts of success. Stacey, tell everybody again what you have coming up, where you're going to be, then we can say goodbye.
Yeah, we're you can follow me on StaceyBlades.com. I'm also on Twitter, Facebook. We got LetItRock.com, and we'll be announcing some more Let It Rock shows coming up, and a lot of great things happening in the works for the brand new year. So, yeah.
I love it, I love it, I love it. I now declare this day as Stacey Blades Day. Yeah, baby!
Might want to try some decaf coffee.
Thanks, everybody. This is Keith Shannon for Roxx Nation Incorporated, and we will see you on the next show.
Thanks, Keith.
Now you've had a taste on how good things are on this side of Mars. Go to RoxxNationIncorporated.com and hit the subscribe button and never miss another show again. And remember, people, rock and roll will never die. This is Keith Shannon for Roxx Nation Incorporated. We will see you on the next show.